Is Dr. Annie Andrews, and for almost 2 decades, I've been a pediatrician in South Carolina. Parents trust me to treat their kids for just about everything you can imagine. This is an x-ray of a kid with measles pneumonia, a condition easily prevented by vaccines. This is a kid with cancer, one of the diseases the NIH doesn't have the funding to study anymore. And this is a kid who's been shot, which despite being the #1 cause of death for children in America, is no longer classified as a public health crisis. And this kid, and there's really no other way to say this, is quite literally full of. And this is an adult who is also completely and unequivocally full.
That was Dr. Annie Andrews. She is a pediatrician from South Carolina, and she is running to unseat Senator Lindsey Graham. Andrews has already pursued Congress, unsuccessfully attempting to unseat Nancy Mace from the House in 2022, losing that race by about 14 points. But she is trying again, this time for the Senate, and her new campaign ad is already causing quite a stir. So here's some more from the ad where she highlights Lindsey Graham's and his general hypocrisy.
You know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell. I like the president. I want to help him. I hope he's successful. You know what concerns me about the American press is this endless attempt to label the guy as some kind of kook. I think he's a kook. He's not fit to be president.
All right, well, we all knew that Lindsey Graham was the worst kind of flip-flopper, but it's still shocking to see it all compiled that way. So I can't show you the whole ad here because it would take too long, but here is just a tiny bit more.
Take a look around. An unelected billionaire is taking a chainsaw to Social Security, Medicare, and veterans health care. The vaccine-denying brainworm guy is gutting our nation's healthcare system. The wrestling lady is elbow-dropping the Department of Education. And a guy who can't even organize a text thread is running the Department of Defense. And Lindsey Graham voted to confirm every single one of these people. It's a lot.
So she goes on to say that Lindsey Graham will call her radical and crazy because he's a weak man, can't argue there. But she insists that she is just a working mom who is just tired of so many things that most of us are tired of. She admits that the race will be difficult to win if she can win at all, but she's not okay with letting Lindsey Graham just win his reelection campaign without a fight. And a fight it will be. This is happening in South Carolina, remember. South Carolina is one of the more reliably red states in the American South, which is definitely saying something. With the exception of Jimmy Carter in 1976, South Carolina has voted for a Republican president every year since 1964, or every election since 1964. In 2024, Trump won 58% of the popular vote in South Carolina, with Kamala Harris only winning 40%. Its governor is Republican, its 2 senators are Republican, 6 out of 7 of its U.S. House representatives are Republican, and its state Congress is overwhelmingly Republican. And Lindsey Graham, while he's not really taken seriously in the public, he has been a senator representing South Carolina since 2003, and before that, he was a representative in the House from 1995 to 2003. He won his most recent reelection campaign in 2020 by 10 points, which is a fairly safe margin, but we have seen challengers overcome those odds in the past. So in response to Andrews' ad, Graham's campaign manager, Mark Knoop, emphasized that a vote for Lindsey Graham is a vote for Trump's agenda, saying the more effective you are in helping enact President Trump's agenda, the more Democrats want to take you down. So instead of distancing himself from Trump, I guess Lindsey Graham right now is in a phase where he is all on board with Donald Trump. We'll see if that changes in the future. Adding, while Dr. Andrews pushes a radical liberal agenda that is out of touch with South Carolina, Senator Graham has always stood firm for conservative values, cutting taxes, securing the border, protecting the right to life, defending the Second Amendment, and confirming conservative judges to protect our freedoms. Well, she did say that they would call her a radical, but I feel like they could have at least, busted open a thesaurus or something like that and just not use the word that she said that they were going to use. But Jordan, I don't know what your experience is in South Carolina. I've been there a few times. I vacationed there, Hilton Head Island, have very fond memories of being there. But something that Mark Knoop said about Dr. Andrews and her push and her efforts to win this race against Senator Graham is that she is pushing an agenda that is more liberal and it's out of touch with South Carolina. What do you make of that? Do you think that maybe there is an unsung liberal majority somewhere in South Carolina that can be tapped into, or do you think that this is just still a very, very long shot?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but that line you hear in every election. No matter who it is or what they run on, Republicans will try to claim Democrats are out of touch. But look at the issues she's talking about there. It's vaccines, it's making sure kids don't get shot in classrooms. It's addressing the problem of cancer through research. Those are all, sadly, relatable things, as tragic as they are. And by laying out not only Lindsey Graham's support, but his acquiescence to people he previously had no real ties to. I mean, if you were to go back 10 years, sadly, we're getting old, 15 years, and then compare Lindsey Graham of then to now, they're totally different people. Lindsey Graham was always kind of this straight-laced, more moderate on some things, but certainly hawkish on foreign policy, conservative. Now all of a sudden it's everything Donald Trump wants. He's populist when Donald Trump wants it. He's anti-war in Donald Trump's words when he wants it, but he still has a little bit of love for bombing Iran. Lindsey Graham does not have a political identity. So that's one thing you can hit him on. People hate slimy politicians, but what she's laying out are very real, relatable, in some cases, kitchen table issues for families. So it doesn't matter who they are or where they are. If you run on that, you're gonna run a tough campaign.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting because she's an actual pediatrician. She is talking about things like vaccines for children and school shootings and things like that. And then the Republican response from the Graham camp was, that we protect the right to life here on the Republican, on the conservative side. But to your point, I mean, we hear that a lot here in Texas too, that we have conservative values here in Texas and that liberals don't get us here in Texas and they're out of touch with Texans and Texan values. But let me tell you, there are a lot of liberals and a lot of progressives right here in Texas, and we feel as though we're not heard at all, And Sharon, maybe you can relate being in Atlanta.
Yeah, and why might that be that you don't feel heard at all? Might it be because like South Carolina, gerrymandering, restricting absentee ballots and mailboxes? I mean, this is the specialty of places like that. Yeah, Jimmy Carter got South Carolina's vote, but he was just across the border in Georgia. That doesn't count. He was a Southern peanut farming, soon to be president when he got that. And when or if Lindsey Graham wins again, he'll claim a mandate, but that won't be why. That won't be why. South Carolina is becoming bluer and bluer. And as it becomes bluer and bluer, they suppress. And as far as Lindsey Graham protecting life, he wasn't doing that on January 6th, making statements. Well, at first he was, and then he got yelled at in the airport, and then he wasn't, right? So this guy is worse than some of the shadiest, lacking integrity and morality politicians out there because he's a flip-flopper. I like my dirty politicians in a way that I can identify them, know who they are. They have no reliability when it comes to this guy. He is actually the worst, and she still should go for it. This pediatrician mom should still go for it because you know what? You never know.
Yeah, he is actually the worst. How can anybody even pretend to support him? Because it's like, which version of Lindsey Graham are you actually supporting? Lindsey Graham doesn't even know what he's supporting from one day to the next. And I'm not optimistic of her chances of winning, but I am very, very happy that she is running because change isn't gonna happen overnight. You're not gonna overcome 14 or 10 points in an election overnight. You can close that gap a little bit though. So maybe if she keeps speaking out and more people like her keep speaking out from places like South Carolina and from Georgia and from Texas, then maybe over time, I know progressives get very impatient with these things, but over time, change does happen. So maybe that's something we can look forward to. And I hope that she does still continue running for different offices if she doesn't win the Senate. So
every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.